Hello everybody, today I can find a missing side given sides of a right triangle using Pythagorean Theorem. So this is something that you should have learned in 8th grade math. Did you learn in 8th grade math or not? Well, I can't speak to that, but I'm going to teach it to you today. So this only applies in a right triangle meaning that there's a right angle. So we're going to call the legs, the straight sides, A and B. We're going to call the hypotenuse is the long slanted side opposite the right angle, C. So the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Again, where A and B are the legs, the straight sides, that form the right angle, and C is the hypotenuse, which is the long slanted side opposite the right angle. The hypotenuse is always the longest side. It's always opposite the right angle. The legs are the straight sides which make up the right angle. So how do we use it? I see a right triangle. I see sides involved. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are the legs, the straight sides. In this example, the legs are x and 7. Now, it doesn't matter which one is a and which one is b, so I could say x squared plus 7 squared or 7 squared plus x squared. Either way, it doesn't matter. C is the hypotenuse, the long slanted side, which in this case is 25. And again, I'm squaring everything. Now I evaluate it. X squared plus 7 squared is 49. 25 squared is 625. I do the algebra. I subtract 49 from both sides. Now to get rid of the squared, I do the square root. I can go to my calculator and type in the square root of 576. I get 24, and that's my answer. So whenever I'm finding a missing side of a right triangle, I'm using a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs. The legs in this example are 7 and x. The hypotenuse is c. That's my long slanted side opposite the right angle. From there, I square both of them. I do the algebra. I subtract the 49 from both sides. And to get rid of the square, I do the square root. Oh, that was number, I don't know what that number was. All right, I don't know. That was a little bonus example, I guess. I don't know where that came from. All right, so number 1 now. I see a right triangle. So I see the sides are involved. We're going to talk about when the angles are involved tomorrow. When the sides are involved only, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The legs in this example, the straight sides, are 3 and 4. C, the hypotenuse, the long slanted side, is x. From here, I square the 3. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. Now, since I have 9 plus 16 on my left-hand side, I add 9 and 16. I take the square root of both sides. I get 5. That's it. Number 2, I see a right triangle. Only the sides are involved. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Where a and b are the legs and c is the hypotenuse. I'm going to give you 20 seconds right now to substitute the values incorrectly. Again, a and b are the legs, the straight sides. C is the hypotenuse, the long slanted side opposite the right angle. Okay, A and B are the legs, which in this case are 5 and 12. C is the hypotenuse, which in this case is x. C is not, the hypotenuse is not going to always be x, it just depends on where the x falls. The right-hand side will always be the hypotenuse. I want you to take a minute or so. Why don't you pause this, try to complete this problem on your own, and then unpause. Okay, now that you tried this on your own, 5 squared is 25, 12 squared is 144, 25 plus 144 is 169. To get rid of the squared now, I take the square root of both sides. I get x equals 13. And that's my answer. Let's skip ahead. We did number 4. That was one we did before. Let's take a look at number 5 now. In fact, I want you to try number 5 on your own. There's going to be a little twist. You're not going to end up with a nice number. If you don't end up with a nice number, I think it says at the top of the sheet to round to the nearest tenth. So keep that in mind. I'll definitely go over the ending with you when you get there. So right now, I want you to pause this. I want you to try number 5 completely on your own. And then unpause and I'll go over it. Okay, now that you tried number 5 on your own, I'm going to go over it. I see a right triangle. Only the sides are involved. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A and B are the legs, the straight sides. 10 squared plus 13 squared are the legs. C is the hypotenuse, the long slanted side, that's x. 10 squared is 100, 13 squared is 169. I add 100 and 169, which is 269. Square root of both sides. Rad 269. I got to the nearest tenth, 16.4. I want you to try number 6 on your own right now. Just a little hint for number 6. It's going to be more like this example, where if you're finding one of the legs, you're going to end up subtracting instead of adding. And that's just following the rules of algebra. So just a little hint on that. I want you to try number 6 on your own right now. So please pause. And then when you're done, unpause. Now that you tried number 6 on your own, I will go over it for you. Because I am dealing with the sides of a right triangle only, there's no angles involved, I use Pythagorean Theorem. A and B are the legs. The legs in this example are x and 5. It doesn't matter if you wrote x squared plus 5 squared or 5 squared plus x squared. They're interchangeable, but the hypotenuse, the 15, must be on the right-hand side. Now I square everything. 5 squared is 25. 15 squared is 225. And now, to get x by itself, I would have to subtract 25. Now, to get rid of the squared, I do the square root. Radical 200, you can just type that into the calculator because it's not a perfect square. I said to round to the nearest tenth. Your answer is 14.1. And just one more example I want to go over with you, and then you'll be able to practice on your own from there. So number 8, I want you to try it on your own right now, but I will go over it with you. So again, try number 8 on your own. So please pause, try number 8 on your own, and then I will go over it. Okay, now that you tried number 8 on your own, I see a right triangle. There's an angle involved. I'm sorry, there's no angle involved. It's only sides. So I use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Again, tomorrow we're going to start talking about when there's an angle involved. A and B are the legs. The legs in this example, the straight sides that make up the right angle, are 3 and 5. C is the hypotenuse, the long slanted side, which in this case is 3 squared is 9. 5 squared is 25. 9 plus 25 is 34. Now I don't want x squared, I want x, so I take the square root of both sides. Now, I told you before that if, it's not a perfect square, you just type it into the calculator and you write out the decimal or whatever it says to round to. You might see your answer in what we call radical form. The answer is the square root of 34. So based on the choices, it doesn't need or want you to type that into the calculator. It has the answer in radical form. So if it's not a perfect square when you take the square root, you might need to round it like we did in this question, type it into the calculator and round it, or it might ask for the answer in radical form. So just be prepared for either. So when we are finding a side of a right triangle and only sides are involved, we use Pythagorean Theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs, the straight sides that form the right angle, and c is the hypotenuse, the long slanted side, opposite the right angle. Your classwork/homework is to finish Pythagorean Theorem, and I hope everybody has a great day.